Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever looked at an engagement ring and wondered how on earth did a little piece of crystallized carbon become the absolute ultimate symbol of love and status, well, you're gonna love this. We're diving straight into one of the most fascinating pieces of economic history ever, how the De Beers Company completely faked diamond scarcity. We're gonna unpack this meticulously engineered illusion, literally the greatest marketing heist in history, and see exactly how an entire industry was built completely out of thin air. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this by immediately shattering a massive century-old illusion. Diamonds are not rare. I really want that to sink in for a second. The whole idea that these stones are incredibly scarce and exceptionally hard to find, it's basically a total myth. And the craziest part is that this myth was completely invented, manufactured, and kept alive by just one single company over 100 years ago. It's an absolute masterclass in market manipulation. So, to understand how they actually convinced the entire world to hoard shiny little rocks, we really need to go back to the beginning. Because this wasn't some lucky overnight success, right? It was a highly calculated, multi-generational master plan. It kicks off in 1870 when massive mines were discovered, which then led directly to a strategic merger in 1888. By 1902, they'd secured a 90% monopoly on the market. And then, in 1947, they launched the iconic Forever slogan. It's the ultimate playbook on engineering global economics. So let's break down exactly what happened at each of these key moments. It all started with what the diamond industry actually saw as a complete and total catastrophe. In 1870, these enormous, sprawling diamond mines were discovered in South Africa. And we aren't just talking about a few small stones washed up in a riverbed, we're talking about massive geological deposits. The volume was completely unprecedented. Suddenly, gems were being scooped out of the earth literally by the ton. Just imagine actual wheelbarrows full of rough diamonds being hauled out of the dirt. The sheer physical supply on the global market exploded basically overnight. And as a result, suddenly, they weren't rare anymore. For the original investors who had poured fortunes into these early mining operations, this surge in supply was an absolute nightmare. It threatened to make diamonds cheap and common, completely stripping them of that exclusive luxury status. Because, basic economics, right? When supply drastically outpaces demand, prices just plummet. This realization caused absolute sheer panic among the investors. Their precious, high-status commodity was on the verge of becoming practically worthless if they didn't stop the bleeding, and fast. Well, those panicked investors figured out pretty quickly that competing against each other was only going to drive the price further into the ground. So they found their ultimate fix in 1888. Instead of fighting a losing battle in a flooded market, they decided to merge. They consolidated all their power into one single, unimaginably powerful entity, De Beers Consolidated Mines. By joining forces, they transformed from desperate competitors into a unified front, totally ready to take absolute control over the Earth's entire diamond supply. And this brilliantly illustrates what they did next. A ruthlessly simple three-step plan. Step 1. Buy up absolutely all the mines to eliminate the competition. I mean, if you own the dirt, you own the market, right? Step 2. Stockpile those diamonds away in massive hidden vaults so they never see the light of day. Just hoard them. And step 3, release only a tiny, carefully calculated amount into the market each year. By deliberately choking the flow of diamonds, they artificially faked scarcity to keep prices sky high. They literally engineered a shortage of something they had in total abundance. Just look at this staggering number. Thanks to that three-step plan, by 1902, De Beers controlled over 90% of the world's entire diamond supply. Just think about the sheer magnitude of that for a second. One single corporation held a near-total global monopoly on an entire commodity. They were completely dictating the physical reality of the diamond market. If you were buying a diamond anywhere in the world back then, you were almost certainly buying it from them, entirely on their terms and at their artificially inflated price point. Let's move on and see how this builds, because as powerful as a 90% monopoly is, De Beers realized a fundamental truth about business. You can restrict supply all you want, but if people don't actually care to buy your product, the price is still going to fall. Heading into the 20th century, especially with economic downturns looming, they realized they had to proactively manufacture consumer demand. Controlling the physical stones wasn't enough anymore. They needed to start controlling the public's mind to ensure people always wanted to buy diamonds. Enter the year 1947 and the launch of a psychological weapon you've definitely heard before. A diamond is forever. This wasn't just some catchy ad phrase. It was a campaign specifically designed to permanently link a simple piece of carbon to the concept of eternal, unwavering love. By telling consumers that a diamond, just like true love, lasts forever, they pulled off two brilliant things. First, they artificially inflated the emotional value of the rock. And second, and this is the really sneaky part, they convinced people to never, ever sell their diamonds, which prevented a secondary market from forming that could compete with their monopoly. Now, what's really interesting about this data is the massive cultural impact of that campaign. Before the 1930s, diamond engagement rings were absolutely not the norm. Only about 10% of brides actually got one. But fast forward to the 1980s, that number skyrocketed to over 80%. It's wild. If you look at your own family tree, your great-grandparents might not have had diamond rings at all. But today, it's just completely expected. De Beers didn't just sell diamonds, they literally invented the modern tradition of giving them, spinning a cultural expectation completely out of thin air. So let's bring this explainer back to the present day, because we really need to talk about the harsh reality of this market right now. For generations, people have bought these stones thinking they're this rare, highly valuable asset, like a rock-solid investment to pass down or rely on in hard times. And it's a super comforting thought when you're making such a massive purchase. But the truth about the modern resale market tells a deeply frustrating story that completely shatters decades of that brilliant marketing. So, the crucial point is this brutal economic truth. The vast majority of diamonds simply cannot be resold for even a tenth of what you originally paid at the retail counter. It's crazy. Once you walk out of the jewelry store doors, that artificial value just evaporates. Because the scarcity is faked and the supply is totally manipulated, the intrinsic value just isn't there on the secondary market. That incredible markup you pay at the store, it's purely the product of a century of controlled supply and masterful, generation-spanning advertising. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question to ponder. When millions of people around the world purchase a diamond ring, are they buying a timeless symbol of eternal love, or are they just buying into the greatest marketing scam ever created? It definitely forces us to reevaluate our deeply ingrained cultural norms, doesn't it? It makes you wonder just how much of what we value is organically real and how much is just brilliant corporate strategy.